I love Brisbane nights, don't you worry.
That one is a...
Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh, okay.
So this particular style of Sauvignon Blanc is going to be dry, sharp, acidic, but fairly light, fairly fruity. So it's not too dry, sharp or acidic. So you can drink the entire bottle by accident. This will keep happening.
Yeah.
This is a Cabernet Merlot. So our Cab Merlot is our lightest red, so we always start lighter than we get to the heavier wines. Now in terms of lightness, there's very little, if any, tannic acidity at the back of the throat, because we use a lot of fruit. Because of this, you can drink the entire bottle by complete and utter accident. Of course, if you are heavy red drinkers, you will possibly drink the second bottle by accident, and at that point you can't drive until tomorrow. Just no driving. Red, Shiraz Cabernet. So a bit more pepper, a bit more spice, a fair bit more bite, but nonetheless it's very soft around the back of the throat due to the use of fruits. Usually we use black currant and plum, with a couple of other cheeky little ones here, there and everywhere. And because of that lightness at the back of the throat, you don't feel the tannic acidity until, well, usually the next day. Just because you can't feel it's there doesn't mean it's not there, and if you do accidentally drink the entire bottle by accident, you will need to drink a lot of water. You'll be fine, but water will be good. Oh, there we go, lovely. So a bit more pepper, a bit more spice, a bit more bite, but easy drinking. The Ridgeway Red Cork Finish Shiraz. So this one has been selling for about 5 years, so it'll have a very rich fruity flavour, but it is cork finished, so if you need to drink the second bottle, I recommend you open both while you're still sober.
Okay.
Sharp implement when you're drunk? No. Good idea. So this is the authentic way to open up a bottle of wine. It does have the cork, it's about 1 inch in length. Not a big red wine drinker, but I love the sound of cork coming out of red wine. There we go, cork finished Shiraz. Cork finished wines are a bit of a tricky one in Australia due to the heat and humidity, hence why a lot of Australian wines have moved off to Stelvin screw caps. That was loud out there. Great time to come out to a winery for a drink, get out of the storm. So the problem with cork finished wines in Australia is sometimes A, the cork can crack, and then a crevice can form in the middle, around the edges of the actual cork, and that can expose the whole wine to oxygen. If the wine is exposed to oxygen, the wine will eventually go off. There's no way around it. So what you need to do with cork finished wine is just rotate the wine every now and then, having it on its side, slight angle in a wine rack, and every now and then just twist the bottle.
How often?
Everyone has different definitions. Some people say daily, others say weekly, others say monthly. And some say just try and do it once every now and then and hope for the best. So it is one of those sort of ones where there's no correct answer because everyone has a different opinion, and the second you get into opinions, no one's ever wrong because no one's ever right. The other awkward part about cork is sometimes the cork gets stuck with the screw cap. So that's one awkward thing about cork too. It does require a device to open it, and sometimes the device is not broken, but it's a bit broken. So what you do is you just retighten it. So is get two things. One, a cap for that, because I left it over there. Second thing, water to rinse out the red wine taste. Because if we go white wine, red wine, and then a non-red wine, so a honey wine in this case, the honey wine will taste weird. So we just need to have a quick sip of water just to get rid of that taste of red wine. And also, even though it is currently, okay, it stopped raining outside, but it's still humid. So everyone can dehydrate very quickly, especially on an overcast, possibly storming day, but it's still hot out there. Wine range, and this is why we are Mount Nathan Winery instead of Mount Nathan Estate. You see, in Queensland you have to prove to a variety of, well, for lack of a politer phrase, bureaucratical agencies that A, you have a raw material on site, B, you convert it to alcohol on site, and C, you bottle it on site. Now in Queensland, unlike a couple of other states and territories of Australia, and indeed around the world, in Queensland you can use honey, grape or apple. Whereas for example in South Australia, you have to use grape as the fermentation raw ingredient, the catalyst of the wine making. If you do not use grape, you are not a winery. Whereas in Queensland, if you use honey and you stick to the fermentation process as opposed to brewing or distillation process, if you're within the realms of the alcoholic percentiles, which is usually above 5 and below 22, then you are still classifiably a winery. So that's why if you look around outside the back paddock of Mount Nathan Winery, you will not see 20, 30 acres of grapes. A few reasons. One, there's not enough land. 20 acres is a lot of land. There's not enough land on the Gold Coast for that much property for the dozen or so wineries and celladors there are here. Secondly, the soil's pretty bad. It's not good for grape growing. It's clay, red clay. You need good quality topsoil. It's too hot in summer, not cold enough in winter, too much rain in summer, not enough rain in... It's not a good place to grow grapes, but it's a fantastic area for honey. And it's a fantastic area for the locals, the Brisbane market, the domestic tourism and the international tourism markets. It's got the people power that unfortunately the Granite Belt just doesn't have due to distance. Fantastic place, Stanthorpe, though. I'd strongly recommend going down there for 12.3 standard drinks. If you were to drink the entire bottle by complete and utter accident, which I may or may not have done, you can prove nothing. Very innocent. You can't legally drive for about 15 hours. You're functional, but you are drunk. You're functional enough to argue that you're not drunk yet, but you are still drunk. So that's what the best way to think about it is you look at the standard drinks, plus 2 or 3, depending if you are an experienced drinker or a novice drinker, and that's about how long you have to wait till you can drive. That's a safe bet. Nathan Winery was founded by my father Peter. So he's in the blue shirt on the far left corner. Next to him is my late grandfather George Francis, who's over on that corner over there. And in the far left corner in the white t-shirt with the baby face is me. This is an old photo. Baby face. That photo was taken about 2008, give or take. Maybe 2007, maybe 2009, so around that time frame. So we moved up here and founded Mount Nathan Winery in 2002 to 2004. 2002 was the finalisation of the purchasing of the property. 2003 was the start and end construction of the actual building which makes up Mount Nathan Winery, its physical presence, its cellar door. And we opened up shop around November 2003, so this year will actually be our 20th anniversary of being opened. We have no idea what we're going to do to celebrate that fact because of the past 3 years, the COVID disruptions. It's just like, we'll figure something out closer. Oh, it's already upon us. Such is life. So before that, we were Central Coast Winery in New South Wales. This is about the halfway point between Sydney and the Hunter Valley. So we were Central Coast Winery from approximately the 1970 approximate to about 2005 is when my granddad fully retired the property, the premise, and moved up to Queensland with the rest of the family. Before that, my family were home brewers. So of course what this means is you make alcohol at home. And of course back then you didn't really need licenses. You just did it and you gave it to your friends, you traded it for goods and services. It was a bartering, haggling. Make the alcohol, trade it off back decks, family parlours, all that sort of fun stuff. So homebrew in that context is similar to the more Americanized moonshining. The only difference is instead of making it in the forest, it was just made in the spare bedroom, bathroom, possibly the living room. We're not too sure about the last one. But I mean, look, it sounds nice and it could be true. So I need to do some research, but I doubt
What did you use to make alcohol?
honey.
Honey.
Yeah, so my family originally migrated out to Australia under the free settler era of the 1850s. So we arrived around the Adelaide region, the Barossa, Adelaide Hills regions, in which case they were, we believe, learning a lot from the German migrants on how they made their grape-based wines, because of course you have areas like Bad Handorf, and there was a very strong inflow of Germanic migrants into that area, and they brought with them grape stems from Germany and continental Europe, and the viticultural knowledge of how to grow grapes, how to make wine, and that's what my family were learning, we believe, around that era. Before that, my family were actually making meads, spirits, liqueurs around the Norfolk, England area from approximately the 1790s to the 1850s. Now, frankly, we might be further back, but at that point, it's hard to tell. You might be able to find the, great, etc. parents, but by that point, it's really hard to find out whether they were involved in alcohol-related arts and sciences, or if they were bartenders, or if they were just general workers in the 18th century at that point, the 1700s. So that's about as far as the family history can track back as it is right now. Now, if we get more free time in the future, we might be able to dig backwards a bit more, but 8 generations of alcohol makers, we're pretty happy with that. This is our coffee honey wine. It will taste more like a liqueur in nature because it's made from honey and not grape, and because it is 20% in alcohol. So because of these factors, it won't taste like a wine. Well, it is still technically a wine. It's just not like any wine you've possibly ever tried before. But it will have a lot of similarities to liquors, liqueurs, or of course the very popular espresso martini. Because it's about the same alcoholic percentage, and if I shake it up enough, it has a bit of crema on top. There we go. So, 96% pure 23 carat drinking gold. What could go wrong? Well, I mean, it is Valentine's Day, so nothing for me. For you? Yeah, maybe. Depends how much he likes it. I'm a mere
It's real gold.
Real gold. This is certifiable 96% pure 23 carat drinking gold, or gold leaf as it's known in the industry. Now, gold leaf, it's not hard to find, it's not easy to find, but it's hard to work with. So in the case of this wine, I have to work in a non-air conditioned room. All windows must be closed and sealed. There cannot be anyone in the room at the same time as me. The main reason why is gold leaf is so light in weight, it's beyond paper thin, it's thinner than paper, that if there's a slight sudden breeze, like someone talking to me and breathing out, you'll actually see the little gold leaf dancing, trying to escape the box. And when the box is worth $1,000 or a few $1,000s, you kick everyone out of the room.
Yeah,
You're out. I'm working.
Use your vacuum cleaner.
Not a bad idea. There's one problem though. Gold leaf attaches itself to a surface. So for example, if you put your finger into the empty glass when you finish drinking some of the wine with 96% pure 23 carat drinking gold in it, subtle, bigger, then you'll actually notice that the gold leaf fragment is stuck to your finger. So if you put your finger and try and rub it off, it won't come off too well. It'll just powderize, so it'll be a bit like gold glitter on your finger. The only thing you can do is just put your finger in your mouth and just scrape it off with your teeth. Gently, of course. It's very hard to work with. You need to work with tweezers. Gloves, of course, are a requirement. Because if it gets stuck to your hand, you can't use it. Because even though I wash my hands, it's touched myself. You can't use it in food preparation or drinking preparation. So elongated tweezers, little pinch, dip it in, and get another set of tweezers and just start